You replay that conversation from 3 days ago, the one where you said that thing. And they probably forgot about it in 5 minutes. But you're still here, at 1 in the morning, analyzing it. If your brain feels like it has 100 tabs open all the time, this video is going to explain exactly why. Overthinkers don't choose to overthink. It's not a switch they can simply turn off. It's a brain that learned, somewhere along the way, that thinking harder means staying safer. Every what if feels like protection. Every replayed conversation feels like preparation. But here's the irony. The more they think, the less in control they actually feel. So what is really happening inside the mind of someone who overthinks everything? Let's break it down. Psychologists call the first reason hypervigilance. For an overthinker, the brain's threat detection system, the same one that kept our ancestors alive in the wild, stays switched on, even when there is no actual danger. A late reply from a friend isn't just a late reply, it becomes a signal, a possible problem, a quiet question asking, did I do something wrong? The brain treats uncertainty like danger, and overthinking becomes its attempt to solve that danger by thinking through every possible outcome in advance. It feels productive. It feels like control. But in reality, it's a nervous system stuck in a low-grade alarm state. Imagine someone sends a one-word text saying, okay, a non-overthinker reads it and moves on. An overthinker reads it 5 times, analyzing the tone, the punctuation, the timing, building an entire emotional story out of a single word. The second reason is something most people don't realize. Overthinkers aren't necessarily afraid of bad outcomes. They're afraid of not knowing. Psychologists call this intolerance of uncertainty, and it's one of the most studied traits behind chronic overthinking and anxiety. A clear rejection is easier to handle than silence. A bad result is easier to process than an unknown one. Because uncertainty gives the mind no resolution, and a brain without resolution keeps searching endlessly. So the overthinker isn't trying to find the perfect answer. They're trying to escape the discomfort of not having one. The third reason is that overthinking is often a learned form of control. Many overthinkers develop this pattern early in life, usually in environments that felt unpredictable. Maybe it was a household where moods changed without warning. Maybe it was a relationship where being caught off guard came with consequences. So the mind adapted. It learned that if it could think about every possibility in advance, it would never be surprised again. Overthinking became a coping mechanism disguised as preparation. It's not weakness. It's not overreacting. It's a system that built itself to protect someone and never received the message that the danger had already passed. Then comes the replay loop. This is the part almost everyone recognizes immediately. The conversation from 3 days ago. The email you sent that you're still rereading in your head. Psychologists call this rumination. It's the brain's habit of replaying an event, searching for a different ending, a better response, or a clue it thinks it may have missed. But here's what's actually happening. The brain isn't trying to torture you. It's trying to learn from something it perceived as a threat so that it never happens again. The problem is that most of what it's replaying was never truly dangerous in the first place. So when you put everything together, overthinking isn't a character flaw. It's a brain that's overly alert, a mind that's uncomfortable with not knowing, a system shaped by a need for control, and a habit of replaying old patterns that no longer serve their original purpose. It's not random. It's not because you're too sensitive. It's a system. And once you understand the system, it begins to feel much less overwhelming. If even one of these patterns felt a little too familiar, remember this. You're not broken. You're simply wired to protect yourself in a way that doesn't always know when to stop. And understanding why your mind works this way is the first step toward finally quieting it